All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good day, wherever you are, whatever you are up to. Hi, I'm Katherine Oster, and I have Annalise Clarke with me today. Welcome to this week's edition of Coffee Chat. And so I'm just going to wait a moment. We're going to wait 1 minute until we get some people joining live because I want to chat with you guys about Annalise's body graph chart, her human design body graph chart. So she was just a willing volunteer who was like, Katherine, let's do this. Let's tell people, show people what a body graph chart looks like. And then let's quickly go through it, give an introduction and a sense of what you get from an introduction to human design reading with me. So that's what we're going to do today. And this is so cool. We just discovered that with Google Chrome, I can share my screen and you guys can see it. So coming into this live, I had no idea that we could do that. Literally like 2 minutes before we go on, I'm like, well, let me see about this. And we found a way to do that. So you just never know when you're going to discover something new.
And you got to be able to roll with things, right? Just like, oh, by the way, we can do this and and it just changes how everything works and it works better. So
totally changes how everything works and it works better. Okay. Well, so Annalise, actually, before we get started into your chart, should we do this before or after? Let's do this after. Okay. So I am going to bring up Annalise's body graph chart. Okay, so this is a human design body graph chart. Let me go into here. Is it moving, Annalise? No, it's not.
Not yet.
Let me see. I just got to open it here maybe so I can scroll down. Oops, not that one. What about now? Is it kind of moving now?
Good now. Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Perfect. So this is what a human design body graph looks like. So the information that you need to have in order to get your human design, to download your human design body graph chart is your birth date, your birth time, and your birthplace, like your location in the world that you were born in. Now, where a lot of people struggle with is their birth time, because not everybody knows what time they were born. Yeah. And the chart can vary within minutes of your birth time. So a few things that people have done is they have called their hospital or their... What's that, Annalise?
I said, oh, really? Because I pulled my little card. So I went into my mom's book that she made for me. And I flipped through all the pages and I had a card that was given to me when I was, let go from the hospital.
Oh, yeah. Let go from the hospital. Yeah. When you were released.
When I was released to the world, to the public. And it said the time on there. So just
that. Yeah. Hey, Karen Carlson. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. So look for that. For me too, I just asked my mom and she just knew. She's like, you were born at this time. I know people who have phoned the hospital that they were born at and had they looked back into their medical records. I would even imagine in Saskatchewan, we have a health card number and you could probably contact eHealth or the Saskatchewan Health Medical Services, and they would probably have it on your file. Yeah. And another thing that I've offered to do with people is we just ask questions from awareness. What I've done is we just get present with the person in their body, whether we're through a message or on Zoom or on a phone call, where the person just gets present with their body. We ask their body to show them what time it was born. And you can go through muscle testing. I go through all the hours. You kind of muscle test yes, no. And then we get a yes. And then we go into that hour and ask for the minutes. And so there's that way too, energetically testing, because your body knows the energy. Your body knows. And then we pull the chart and we look at it. And then we go from there. So let's go back to the chart here. Okay, so I'm just gonna bring it up so I can move it. So this is the body graph chart. So on the sides, you see the red side and the gray side. That's something those are like your gates and channels. That's something that we don't get into in an introduction reading. In the introduction reading, we talk about type, which there's 5 different types. There is a projector, a reflector, a manifester, a manifesting generator, and a generator. So there's 5 types in human design. And your type is how you interact with the world around you. It's just your aura. It talks about how you be with people. And within your type, you get information about your strategy and your authority, which is your decision-making process. Felt senses in the body that you can use to determine whether you are in alignment with your type, your strategy, and your authority or not. We talk about the not self themes, and these are signs or energies that you are not being yourself when they come up. And then we talk about your signature theme, which is what you feel when you are living by your design in congruence with your design. We'll get into Annalise's type and profile here. Your profile is actually these top 2 numbers. So the 4, you see 32.4. So 4 is the top number of her profile, and 62.6, 6 is the bottom number. So Annalise is a 4-6 profile. And your profile is how, actually, no, I got it mixed up. So your type is like how the world interacts with you, like how you are meant to kind of show up. And your profile is how you interact with other people and how you move about the world, engaging with people. So Annalise is a 4-6. And the type comes from your defined center. So this is where the chakra system comes into play. We have the head, the crown, the throat, the ajna, the identity center. Here we go into the sacral and the root. We've got the spleen over here, the heart, and the solar plexus. So Annalise has, so the white centers are like open, they're undefined. The colored centers have definition, they're a defined center. And actually, the definition, the open and closed centers is something we are going to dive into, not in an introduction reading. That could be like a next reading where we look at what your definition is and how you can use that and work with that when you create a business, when you work with clients, when you are in your family unit. But we're going to talk about it, how it makes your type right now. So Annalise has a defined spleen. So she is a splenic authority. That's just that. And I know this can get really confusing in the beginning, but just stay with me. And it's okay if you don't understand it. We're just giving out information. She's a splenic authority. Her spleen is connected. There's a channel here, the colored in channel is connected to her identity center, which is connected to her throat. So this connection from the spleen to her identity center to her throat makes her manifester. That's just that's how her type is defined. Now, if this sacral here was defined, that would make her a manifesting generator, but it's not. It's open. So she's a manifester. And she is a 4-6 profile, and she has splenic authority. So this is the information you get in a introduction reading. So now we're going to talk about her type first, which is manifester. So as a manifester, manifestors are here to initiate change. They're here to initiate transformation. They're here to take on they're here to see what's not working and make it better. So as a manifester, the initiations come in as like a wave of energy, and you get this idea or this plan or this trigger, and you want to take action on it. And those are initiations as a manifester. Now, oftentimes where we become the not self is when we are responding. Like, your teacher tells you to do things, other people around you tell you to do things, that puts you into a response mode. And as a manifester, that's not congruent with who you are here to be. So what starts to show up is anger. Anger is the sign that a manifester is in the not self. So they're not initiating enough. They're maybe in too much response to the world around them. That brings up the anger. That's a sign that you need to look at things and get curious about what's not working for you in your life. The signature theme of a manifester is peace. So when you are feeling peaceful, you're initiating, you are working as the manifester you are here to be in the world. So, Annalise, is there anything you would like to speak to when you found out you were a manifester? Like, what was your moments when you found that out? What was your first things?
Oh my God, so much, right? Just getting that little piece of information. And I think the key thing I'm just going to say right off the hop is the anger piece. I always say like, oh, I'm just angry. I'm angry inside a lot. And I was angry inside a lot. And I started to look at those places. As soon as I got that information, I started to look right away at the places where I was angry. And I started noticing that as like as a tool instead of like a deficit of something that I hate about myself is the anger response. So now I'm like, oh, I'm angry. And then I can start asking questions and like using all the tools that I have on top of the information. So I've really started to look at that. The manifester piece was huge for me because I think of so many things. I have so many brilliant ideas, and I get, you get that fuel of energy and you're like, yeah, let's do this. And then I can like execute it, and then it fizzles out because I'm a manifester. And it, so I just manifest the ideas. I have all the ideas, and then, I don't follow through with it. But now I kind of understand maybe why I don't follow through with things. Instead of making it wrong, I like, oh, okay, this is, I can like really harness the ideas, right? So I say my ideas, and, I surround myself in a place where I can share my ideas, and people that, value my ideas. And then I thrive in that environment, right? Like if I'm good at this or this, then yeah, I just kind of roll with it. So that has been really cool to kind of just play with that over the last year. Because I found out a year ago, this information. And yeah, those are kind of the two main things. And then the other piece, obviously, we haven't talked about that yet, is the communication piece.
Yes, the informing. So so every type has a strategy.
Yeah.
So like I talked about with manifestors, the strategy is to initiate and inform. So when this energy of the initiation comes up within you, you need to inform your key people, the key people in your life that you are working with or living with, about what's going on. Now, as manifestors, they're not comfortable. They feel like when they inform people, the people are going to stop them and tell them, no, you can't do this.
So that's so true.
So then the manifestor doesn't inform, and then that creates so much turbulence in the relationship because the other people just get these surprises sprung up on them, and they're like, why didn't you tell me? And they feel like they're not important to the person who's a manifestor.
And that's so huge for my relationships. It's been so huge, and I can't even stress enough just knowing that communication piece, because and even still, like I even just thought of something today. Like I just noticed like a place where I didn't want to communicate, and inform people, and it frustrates people that are close to me because I don't inform them of anything, because I don't want to hear no. I don't want to hear their ideas because I've already made up my mind that I'm doing it. So I don't really give a right? Like, I'm just like, no. But that informing piece, even when I'm uncomfortable, informing people has been so key. And my husband, like, oh, by the way, we're doing this later. What? Like, I surprised the poor guy, and it's been really frustrating for our relationship. Now I try and remember to include him and talk about things.
Yeah.
He's not going to stop me from doing what I want to do.
Exactly.
He married me. He knows that I just do whatever I want. But informing him has created ease for me and less anger.
Yeah. Yes. Less anger. Exactly. Whereas like a generator was another type I had mentioned. Generators are here to respond to things around them. Now a generator's not self-theme is frustration. So when frustration comes up for a generator, it's a sign that maybe they aren't responding to the correct things. So they're not working or responding to something that they really care about, that they want to be kind of, that makes them feel happy. They're doing things that is not in alignment with them, responding to people or asks that are projections, and that's not a projection that they actually is going to get them to where they want to be. So frustration comes up. So the strategy of a generator is to respond. Now it's funny because where generators get hung up is they don't respond and they initiate. So they're acting as a manifester, but they're not really a manifester. So then they get really frustrated because they're actually, when they go into that initiation, that's not an energy that is congruent with their type. They need to respond. And so it's just was so interesting for me as I'm learning about this whole body of work, where oftentimes from children, we are projected on or taught to be the way that we're not. And then once you learn about, just gain the knowledge about that, it's so much freedom. Yeah, so that's a little bit about type. And we talked about the strategy of the type, which for the manifester is to initiate and inform, and the generator is to respond. And the authority. So I talked about how Annalise has splenic authority. Her spleen is defined in her chart. Now, splenic authority is how it feels in your body to make a decision. Splenic authority is just kind of this, it's like a gut feeling, but it happens so quickly and it happens in the moment. For example, people with splenic authority, let's say they're going out to a restaurant for supper. And you know what? It's like, yeah, good, let's get there. But when they get to the restaurant, all of a sudden their body's like, no, we can't be here. Like, no. Like, the moment they're in the environment or the energy, that's when they get the awareness. They can't really tap into it before. So it happens really quickly. So oftentimes people with splenic authority, they'll feel like really flighty, or that they're too not committed, because their mind will change so quickly because the energy has changed. Because as soon as their body enters that environment, they just know it's not for them. And then they feel bad because then they're like, well, I don't really want to eat here. Can we go somewhere else? But then they feel like they've already committed to that and they don't want to. So that's splenic authority.
Yeah.
Anyway, what do you say about that, Annalise?
I was like, that happens every day to me, where it's like, especially at the restaurant, my husband gets so frustrated because I never know what to order. When I get there, he's like, you know the menu to McDonald's, but you can't figure out what you want. And I just think because, and I just have to decide right there. I can't tell you before I get to the window what I want. I need to get to the window, and then I need to order. And I know what I want. I just don't know. It's the weird thing. And that's decisions in general in my life. I don't know, or I do know, but I need to wait till the moment.
Till the moment, exactly. You have to wait till the moment.
Information I need when I get to the point of making a decision. And I make myself so wrong for that.
Yeah.
And since then, and even just now, I'm even getting more awareness of places that I do that, because I do that all the time with decisions.
Yeah.
And getting in touch with because I'm trying to use my head. I'm trying to use my crown, right? to make these decisions.
And you have an undefined, like an open crown. So
yeah.
just with that center, you're more at the effect because it's not defined. You're more at the effect of everybody else around you in that
I'm
center.
so suffering from that. Like, I would say suffering because it's really suffering. And it's like, yes. So I need to really just trust that gut. So I've been really trying to, and all the little practices and the tools. And, you know, even I'm part of, you know, the Create Club and the Daily Dose program with you. And it's like, all those things are supporting me to really strengthen that splenic authority, because that has been a really big struggle, because I am acting and pretending in life like I am something else, right?
Yeah.
From an authority of a crown or a heart, or, you know, and I really never dove into being the true splenic authority that I truly be. Yeah. And that is an ongoing discovery.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
That makes
And
sense.
just an example, like, so I'm an emotional authority. My solar plexus is defined. And for bigger decisions, I need to ride my emotional wave, because it'll come on as a really high, like a really big yes. And if I make a decision in that energy, it often doesn't turn out that great. I need to ride to emotional neutral. So I need to wait until I can tell the energy is emotional neutral and then check in again. And as an emotional authority, it's never 100% yes. Like 80% is like 100%. So there was always,
can it handle that?
there was always these decisions in my life that were bigger choices, where I never felt 100% yes, but I did feel 80% yes. So I would wait almost like longer to see, is it going to get to 100?
It's going to get better. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you start to doubt yourself. I bet you that was awful.
But knowing that 80% for an emotional authority person is a yes, then I'm like, okay, cool. Like it just gave me more confidence and clarity in my choices. And I have made choices on an emotional high.
Yeah.
And it did not turn out to be what I wanted it to be. It didn't work out so well in the future. And then I had to go back on my choice because it wasn't working. And I don't enjoy that. When I choose something, I'm committed to it. So learning that, to just wait it out. And emotional neutral comes at different times. It'll maybe come in a couple of hours, or it might be a whole day. Like, I need just learning to ride that wave for as long as it is was huge. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not like it's always going to be 20 minutes.
Exactly. No, it's different every time.
And so then when you're not in alignment, what is your not in alignment?
Like when I'm emotional high.
Yeah. Like when you're not in alignment, mine is anger, right?
Oh yeah.
Emotion, like.
Yes. And I'm also a manifester. So mine is also anger.
Okay. Yeah. So that really just pisses you off.
Yes. When I have to like go back on my choice because I chose that emotional high, yes, I get angry.
Get frustrated. Okay. Yeah. So there's similarities in ours then, but yet so many differences in how we respond to things. And so that is the beauty of this human design.
Yeah, because I'm emotional authority, but you're splenic authority.
Right.
Yes.
But we're both manifestors. So, and it's just so interesting. And then your kids and how you interact with your kids, you know, like you've worked on your kids, like you've got their design and Audrey's, and it's helped me understand a little bit more about my daughter too, and how she operates. And I can't wait to know Joe's, you know? So
yeah, and this is the thing. So you can actually download your own human design chart at no cost at mybodygraph.com, and you can just start to look at it for yourself. Now the gift of, you know, having a session with somebody like me is I've been studying this since September now. So I've gained a lot of knowledge from Jamie Palmer, who's been studying it for years. And so I have just a little more of that in-depth knowledge that I can speak with you about it. And you can start to discover things about yourself.
Yeah. And just how to apply it in your life, right? Like I was really, when I heard the splenic authority, I was really confused. Yeah, that's cool. But what is splenic authority and how, and you kind of dive in and you ask me the right questions, right? And you know, like, okay, you're a splenic authority, so you're going to feel this and this and this. And then this is what you can do to kind of play with it and discover your true alignment. So that's kind of stuff you don't get from the body graph, but the body graph is really cool because I was able to kind of look at Joe's and just see the differences, right? So
yes, exactly. Yeah. And yeah, so I think we gave you guys a lot of information this morning. So usually introduction to your human design reading with me is just reach out. I'll put a link here with the video, or you can send me a message. I'll get your information, download your body graph for you. I create a PDF with your type, your strategy and authority, and your profile, which we didn't talk about profile today. Maybe that can be another future one. And then we meet on Zoom for about an hour, and we just sit down. I sit down with you and we talk about your type, your profile, your strategy and authority. And then
you will understand it then. Yeah. If you don't understand it now, you'll understand it then.
Yeah. So thank you, Annalise, for coming on and allowing us to talk about your body graph chart. And thank you guys for watching live, and to those of you listening in the future. If you have any questions, you know what to do. And coffee cheers.
Coffee cheers. Have a great Friday.